Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Today I have very exciting news for you to share. It's been a long way, almost a year, and I finally can say that I received my endorsement for the UK Global Talent Visa. Oh my god, can't believe that. So the UK Global Talent Visa is an immigration type of visa that allows you to live, work and study in the United Kingdom for up to 5 years without any restrictions, and then apply for the indefinite leave to remain, which potentially can lead you to British passport. I think a very good deal. So today I'm going to tell you about all the tips and tricks that I use preparing my case for this visa, and I hope that some of them will definitely help you. If you also think of moving to the UK and would like to find out about this type of visa in detail, keep watching this video. So to apply for the UK Global Talent Visa, you need to be a specialist in certain fields, and there are three main groups that you can be a talent or at least a good professional in. The first one, academia and research. These are specialists in social science, humanities, engineering and all these scientific researchers. So the second field is art and culture, and these can be everything related to dancing, literature, film production, cartoon production, some visual effects, photographers, videographers, everyone that is doing some creative stuff and can prove that he or she is professional. The third field is digital technology, which I applied for, and this include all the software developers, AI or machine learners, engineers, project managers, UI UX designers. You can find some more fields of talent on the Technation website because they have a separate global talent guide. I'll leave the link in the description, but basically all the skills divided into business and technical. And the most surprising point for me that's the absence of QA engineering at all, really. They mentioned almost everybody in the digital technology sector, like project managers, UI UX designers, AI machine learning engineers, but not QA engineering. And that thing was very frustrating for me because I am a QA engineer, and of course QA engineering was the only field that I could apply with, but they didn't have it on their website. But then I found out that this list of the fields of talents on their website is not limited to these specialties. It's just an example of fields of talent that you can be. Let's talk about the essential documents that you need to prepare to apply for this visa. First, you need to get 3 different letters of recommendation from 3 different people that are recognized leaders in their field, and they know you at least for 12 months. They probably worked with you, or probably they didn't. It doesn't matter, but they should be aware of your talents, of your activities and achievements, and the speed of your professional growth. So the second criterion is mandatory. You need to get at least 2 proofs that you being recognized by other professionals in the field for at least a couple of years of your working experience. This can be some interviews on websites, I don't know, newspapers if they still exist. It can be your participation in public conferences which have at least 100 attendees. Something that shows that other professionals in your field recognize your talents and you make good value for them. And the last point is that you need to cover at least 2 of 4 optional criterion. As for the optional criteria, the first one is innovation, which means that by your activities, by, for example, the company that you established, you created something innovative, something that hasn't been in the market before, and it's very helpful for users, and you have a lot of recognition again, and you're bringing something new to this industry. The second optional criteria is contribution to the field, which means that you did something useful beyond your main occupation at work, and you did it even on a non-profit basis. For example, it can be volunteering in some IT community, it can be mentoring, it can be some articles that have been read lots of times by other professionals. So something useful that you bring to this industry. The third optional criteria relates to the significant impact to any company and to the industry in general. For example, you're a project manager and you released a very good product that's somehow had impact on the whole industry. You set standards in this industry that other competitors in the market started following and doing the same way. You did something that first of all made profit for your company, and the second one brought some value and something significant into the industry which you're working in. And the fourth criterion relates to the academic contribution to the fields. For example, you wrote some scientific research that helped somehow to evaluate your industry or your branch of this industry. So something that you did from academic perspective and that had impact again on your field. So besides mentioned letters of recommendation, mandatory and optional criteria, you will also need to provide technician officers with your resume that is composed based on their standards and based on all your activity and publications that you were able to get, and also a personal statement. So a personal statement is the type of document where you tell the technician officer in a free form who you are, why you need to get this visa, why you need to be in the United Kingdom, how being in this country will benefit. So it's also worth mentioning that all pieces of evidence and letters of recommendations and personal statement, they all should be no longer than 3 pages, with the only exception that when you translate something from Russian or from any other languages into English. For example, titles on your screenshots, extracts from articles about you, something like this, that is written not in English. Everything should be in English. So you need to translate it and to verify the translation by the authorized translator, and the authorization document of this translator can be located on the 4th page. This is the only exception where this number of pages extends. But anyway, all the pieces of evidence and documents, they should be no longer than 3 pages. This also relates to your resume. So now I will tell something more about me, who am I, and how I started preparing my case. So I've been working as a QA engineer for almost 5 years, but when I started preparing my case, it was only 3 years and something, close to 4 years. I made a research on all the types of immigration visas to the UK. They also have a skilled worker visa where you also a professional, you are looking for a job, you find some employer that can provide you with the financial and legal support to give you this skilled worker visa. But the most disadvantage for me was that you are tied to your employer. You cannot change the employer, or you cannot start your own business because you need to be a full-time employee in one particular company. What if I don't like this company in a year? What should I do? Will I have to leave the UK? So that wasn't working for me. So that's why I was more inclined to the global talent visa. And they have 2 types of global talent visas. These are exceptional promise talent visa and exceptional talent. So exceptional promise for professionals that are in their industry less than 5 years. That was the best option for me. And the exceptional talent visa relates to more experienced senior or even team leaders, specialists that have been worked in the industry more than 5 years. So that's why I wasn't hesitating which type of visa I need. The main difference in this type of visa is that if you have an exceptional talent visa, you can apply for the indefinite leave to remain in only 3 years, compared to exceptional promise, where you can apply to ILR in 5 years. But if you're moving with the route of exceptional talent, you have to live with your ILR for 2 years, while with the exceptional promise route, you need to live only 1 year with your ILR. That is 5 years for exceptional talent visa and 6 years for exceptional promise. So the difference is only 1 year until you can apply for the British passport. For me, it wasn't a big difference, and I was more eligible for the exceptional promise. So I decided not to take risks and started preparing for the exceptional promise route. The main 2 resources for me preparing this visa were 2 Telegram channels that created for Russian-speaking people. So if you speak Russian, I will leave the link in the description for these channels. They give so much support. It was like the knowledge base for me. I think I found out lots of details, tips and tricks about this visa rather from the official resources. But of course you need to read official resources first and then start preparing your case with the help of Telegram channel and other resources. And these official resources, technician website, as I said before, they have a separate guide on the global talent visa, and of course the government website gov.uk. They have a page about global talent, so you can find out all the details about payments, necessary documents and other stuff for this visa. And the last and the most common resource for me was of course YouTube, where I searched lots of information, where I find out about everything, and the global talent visa is not the exception. So the first mandatory criterion in my case was the statistics of results of my work in my first company, with the number of tickets that I opened that have been fixed, the percentage, all the statistic data from Jira, from other project management systems that we had in this company. And as a proof of my outstanding work, my ex-team lead wrote me some kind of recommendation that I put as the 3rd page of my mandatory criterion. It's not the letter of recommendation that stands alone as one of the 3 letters of recommendation. You can also ask your colleagues to tell the technician officer that he guarantees that you are a professional, that you did your work well, and you were outstanding comparing to other employees. So yeah, you can also use recommendation in the pieces of evidence, but the piece of evidence cannot be only the recommendation from a person without any screenshots, statistics, some measurable result of your work. The second mandatory criterion in my case was the fact that I was invited to review the methodology of QA course in one of the Russian online universities. And also later they asked me to create one lesson for this course, and they also provided me with a good recommendation, their director. The good thing is that we didn't meet personally with this director, but he was told about all my achievements and all my contribution to their company, and he evaluated me as a professional, and he wrote me a recommendation. So you don't need to know some cool experts personally, but you need to somehow tell them about you. They need to evaluate you from their professional hate, and if they do so, it shows that you are recognized as leaders in your field. And the third mandatory criterion for me was the invitations to 2 YouTube interviews, public speaking opportunities, and conducting a webinar within the Women Who Code community in London, which I personally organized, and I had around 74 attendees online and around 1.2 thousand views on YouTube. And I was a bit nervous about this piece of evidence, about this webinar, because 74 participants is not kind of enough, because it's better to have at least 100. but in my case it worked. Going to the optional criteria number 2, which relates to contribution to the field. During this year of preparation for this case, I organized my own project. It's called Nerd Translator. This is a project for developing an Android application. And the uniqueness of this project is that we were accepting some junior specialists, developers, designers, and I gave them opportunity to develop their skills and to try working on the real projects before they get some working experience. We reviewed their code, we reviewed their work from the QA perspective, from technical skills. This was the contribution to the field in terms of growing new specialists, which I'm sure was evaluated by technician officer. I had 2 more pieces of evidence for this contribution to the field optional criteria, and the second one was about mentoring. I had been mentored on adplist.org platform since February or March, and I started preparing my case in January. And I had 18,000 minutes of mentoring sessions for people from 18 different countries and approximately 15 or 16 reviews from them. So my profile has been grown for this month, and in November I even gained a badge of top 1% mentors of the month, which I also included into my piece of evidence. Besides mentoring on AWPList, I also included mentoring within the Women Who Code community that I coordinated with for mandatory criterion and organized webinar, but I also mentored a couple of people for this community. And the best thing of this community and such type of communities that they have some kind of long-term program for mentoring, and this is being evaluated much better than just being a short-term mentor on AWPList. But anyway, if you can mentor both on short-term and long-term basis, that this would be only a plus for you. And I also gave a presentation about automation testing within this community again, and I put it all to my second optional criterion. And the last optional criterion for me related to contribution to the field was the number of achievements, showing that I bring some value to the industry. For example, I had 3 articles written within this period of my preparation for the visa on Hackanoon website with 1,000 reads each on average. Also, I had a profile on Stack Overflow where I helped other people to solve their problems and answer their questions. I didn't have so big figures like other applicants have. I had only 600 of rating score, around 6,000 impact. It's not too much, believe me. Besides that, again, within this Women Who Code community, I developed an automation test suite with approximately 5,000 added lines and became the top 2nd contributor in this repository. I also included it to my last optional criterion, which relates to contribution to the field. And that was all for the contribution to the field criterion. And now we are going to the second optional criterion, which I covered. And here I chose contribution to the industry within a company, which was optional criterion number 3 from their guide and from that I previously told you about. And here I also had 3 different pieces of evidence. The first one related to the application development by myself and organizing all the work from creating a design and up to going to release. I had around 200,000 added lines in this repository, and my product has been released and was successful within our customers. The second piece of evidence for the third optional criterion for me was the product development in my second company, where I was talking about the impact that I made on this company and on the product particularly that led this company to the good numbers of invest in funds in the seed round of investments. And also a project manager confirmed in his recommendation that I was really an outstanding employee and I was making a good profit for their company. So yeah, all this stuff related to the financial growth of the company and the product development. And the last optional criterion was related to my automation scripts that I developed for this second company. And I also wrote some more small automation scripts that helped my colleagues to save up some time and as a result save up money for the company to do some routine stuff that could be automated. So I think that was all for my mandatory and optional criteria which I wanted to tell you about. And of course I had 3 letters of recommendation, but the main problem for me with these letters were that I worked only in 2 companies and I didn't know where I can get some third person. So my first letter of recommendation was from the founder of the startup where I worked in for 1 year, and the last 2 letters of recommendation were from the colleagues from the same second company. But the founder of this company, he was writing about my general approach to work and to career path, about impact that I made on this company. And the second one was the team lead of developers. He was writing about my technical skills, my testing skills, and how his life and the life of his team members got better when I started working for a company and I started making some outstanding impact. So this approach worked for me, like to separate management and general professional growth. That was the solution that I found. And here are some tips from me for the letters of recommendation. And the first one, all your achievements and activities that you are mentioning in your resume and personal statement should be mentioned by your referees in all these 3 letters. But of course, one by one, because one referee is not able to know everything about all your activities, all your tasks that you did, all your projects that you led. And this is quite obvious. This is the right way to be rejected. So keep the balance of the things that your referees are talking about. And as you may probably know, all the letters of recommendation should be signed by your referees. And here is my piece of advice, not to use some digital signature services like DocuSign, because if you're using this kind of services, you need to provide some logs and IP info. You don't need all this hassle. Wet signature will be more than enough. Wet signature is when your referee who is signing this document, he just prints it out and then signs with his signature and then scans the document and send you back. Okay, so you got all your documents prepared, you translated all the non-English words, you reviewed your case, you gave someone to review it, you're ready to apply. And the first thing that you do here is you're going to gov.uk website and you are applying to the Global Talent Visa. And to do this, you need to fill in the application form, which is pretty standard. Some questions about your nationality, birth of dates, names, marital status. And once you fill in this form, you will be redirected to the payment page. As far as I know, it costs £716 to apply for this visa, but you need to pay only 500 something pounds at the first stage. And if you will be endorsed, you will need to pay this 100 something pounds. And once you pay this fee on the gov.uk website, you have only 15 days to fill in the second application form, but this time on Technation website. And again, after the payment, you can be redirected at any time on to the Technation website where you can fill in this application form, which is also rather simple. and then upload all your documents that you prepared. Congratulations, you applied to the Global Talent Visa. And now is the most difficult thing is to wait for their answer. I waited for almost a month. And this was the toughest month in my life. I checked technician website and my application like 5, 6, 7 times a day. I also don't recommend you checking so-called edits. By edit, technician doesn't understand that they really edit something in your application, but they mean that they just opened your application, they read some documents, and this means edits. And as I and other applicants understood, there is no direct connection between the number or the frequency of edits and the final decision on your application. I would say that there is only one evident connection that I noticed. Many applicants receive their endorsement letters the next day after the last edit. So, for example, if you have edit today, you can wait for the endorsement letter tomorrow. Or you cannot receive this letter because they are not done with the review in your case. And it's also okay. I would say that there is no need to look at this edits and take them seriously, but anyway, it exists and you should know about it. And as I said, on the 3rd of January, the next day after the last edit, I finally got my endorsement letter and I was so happy. And I think not only because this endorsement letter was positive, I was happy just to hear any kind of solution, because it was the whole month of checking this website, waiting for their decision. I hate waiting. Yeah, that's why I prefer doing something by my own. But here is the situation where nothing more depends on you. You did everything preparing your case, and now it's turn them to review your case and to give the final decision. So yeah, I was very happy, and I'm sure that if you follow my story, if you follow my tips, you will be successfully endorsed by the Global Talent Visa. In the end, I would like to kind of make a conclusion and to give you some basic tips and advices that I think will work for you and have worked for me. Tip number 1, there's no need to be embarrassed. You are the best. You know about it, I know about it. You need to show your full potential to the technician officer to persuade him or her that you are the best, and the UK will greatly benefit from your being there. Tip number 2, don't overthink. You can prepare your case for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years. You will be thinking that it's not so good enough. I also thought that I'm not ready for applying, but I was just simply so tired of preparing this case that I decided just to apply. By the end of the year, I applied in December, and to get any kind of feedback, I didn't expect that I will be approved from the first time. I just wanted to give any kind of feedback and advice and recommendation to find out also the thing that you need. Because without this feedback and recommendation, you can spend like 2-3 years preparing your case and thinking that it's not ready yet. So don't overthink, everything will be good. Tip number 3, audience is very good for you. Start making Telegram channels, start creating YouTube videos, start writing someone in LinkedIn, propose them to help, be viewed by other people, and these opportunities for public speaking, for interviews, creating some educational materials, they will meet you. Tip number 4, if you think that you have no achievements at all, try digging in your past activities, search for old projects, collaborate with the former colleagues. I'm sure that you have at least one project or one achievement that you can use for your case. Probably the problem is in the presentation of this achievement or project. Think of the form of the presentation, why it was helpful for the industry, why it was helpful for the targeted user, and I think you will find anything to start with. And the last tip is more about structure, but it helped me so much. Select any software tool or even a piece of paper and just draw a scheme of your case. This will help you to form the structure of your case. It worked for me the best way. Okay, that's it for today, and if you still have some questions, leave them in the comments and I will reply to them. I wish you all the best and good luck, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!